Hello everyone, my name is Roya and welcome back to another monthly recommendations. So if you don't know, monthly recommendations was started by Kayla Rain and Between Chapters, and I will leave their channels down below as well as the link to monthly recommendations so you can check it out and maybe start your own. But this week's theme, or this month's theme rather, is science fiction. So here we go. First science fiction book that I have to recommend is Snow Crash, and I picked this one because I don't think I've ever talked about it on my channel before. It's pretty weird. I first read this before I was ever on BookTube, so my memory of it may be a little bit fuzzy. I was also in a huge reading slump while I was reading this and still forcing myself to read, but basically this is about a dude who is a hacker and goes into a virtual world and goes off to find a virtual drug that is infecting other hackers. The main chick in this is like really badass and really awesome. And basically there's just it's pretty weird, like it plunges you straight into the weirdness. Like next we have a book that I have talked about before on this channel many times, but this is Acorna, the Unicorn Girl by Anne McCaffrey. And this is about three miner dudes who, on a mining ship, who find this alien baby in outer space floating in a little escape pod. And they don't know where she came from or even what kind of alien she is because they've never encountered her like before. I'm reading the second one right now, in which they do find out a lot more about where she came from, but basically for the duration of this book, nobody knows what the heck she is, and they bring her back to Earth, and people try to like do experiments on her, or they think that she's human and just really deformed, so like all this stuff. So the three miner dudes end up like rescuing her, keeping her, like raising her. Next, I can't go without recommending Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, and this book is about basically Orson Scott Card wrote this book when I think his brother was in the army, and so he was like thinking about writing a book, and then he thought about, oh, the army, my brother's in the army right now, why don't I write about the army? But then he was like, what if they were like little kids, and what if it was in space? So basically, yeah, that's what this book is about. It's a bunch of like child geniuses in space, like training for combat. Honestly, I liked the second book as well, which is called Speaker for the Dead, but I could not stand the third book, and basically I would recommend like just reading the first one or just the first two, and just leaving it at that, because the third one was so boring and it made like no sense. Another book that I can't not recommend is Hyperion by Dan Simmons, and I read this within the past year. It's almost been exactly a year since I read this, and I still haven't read the fourth book. I can't believe it. But basically, this is a book about like a bunch of different people going on a pilgrimage to meet the spiky dude on the front called the Shrike, and he is going to grant one of their wishes, supposedly, and then kill the rest of them. But that's not quite, like, not everything is as it seems, and pretty much this first book deals with each of them sharing with each other why it is they are going on this pilgrimage, because they all have different reasons and they all have different things that they are trying to accomplish through it. And then the second book kind of deals with, like, once they get there, what the heck happens, and then the third one kind of has a huge time skip. But basically, though, this book is super creepy. Like, it has some really creepy parts in it, like, seriously, but overall, it's just a really awesome read, and I definitely recommend it a lot. Next, some huge sci-fi fans are going to want to punch me right in the nose, so I'm very sorry if I'm offending anybody. I couldn't simply just not talk about Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood, because even though this is not strictly a sci-fi book, Margaret Atwood did win a sci-fi award for this. So basically, this deals with a boy named Jimmy who lives in a sort of a speculative world that could be our society someday, and it's pretty futuristic, but still not a ton. And then basically he makes friends with this boy named Crake, whose name is really not Crake, but then they come up with animal nicknames for each other, and then Crake's just like sticks forever, so he's Crake. And then Crake goes on to create some very strange new humans that are like a different species of human, and they're all like really odd. And so a lot of this book is told in flashback, and in the present day of the book, that is not a flashback, Jimmy is teaching the weird new humans that Crake created about just life and the world. So I've read this book several times. As you can see, my copy is pretty torn up, but it was actually not me who did that. Funny story. So anyway, yeah, this book I can't recommend enough. I absolutely adore this book. I like love the crap out of it. We are going to now add a young adult book into the mix. This is Across the Universe by Beth Revis. So this is about a girl named Amy who gets cryogenically frozen on a spaceship along with her parents because they are going to travel for 300 years to a new planet that it takes 300 years to get to. And her parents are both like, you know, scientists and military people and like people who need to be there. And so she just comes along just because she's their kid, and so she just doesn't know what else to do. But plot twist, she wakes up on the ship about 50 years too early and has to deal with what the heck's going on the ship when everyone else who's there like has always lived there for generations because it's been like 300 years already. But not everything is as it seems, and there is a tremendous mystery element to this series that I had so much fun reading about. Those are some sci-fi recommendations. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what your favorite sci-fi books are in the comments, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!